Right on cue. Hey nerds, it's Nathan, and we're back for another book review video. Really right on time with the birds. Alright, well, fuck the birds. Let's get into Battle Mage. The war is in their hands. First off, I'd like to just do a little shout out to my friend Victor for his help and criticism and little tidbits of advice to help make my videos better. So thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Victor.
Battle Mage. So, in our world of Battle Mage, we're at war. And we have obviously our antagonist and protagonist side. But essentially what is happening is the Battle Mages are standing with kind of the last city-state in line to fall from an alliance of 5 other nations / city-states. And if they take this place, they take the continent, and they're trying to stop that from happening. Now, this is a multi-POV where we follow Balfourus, one of our battle mages, one of the royal family from our defending city-state sides. Blah, I got there in the end. One of our spies and informants that is within the enemy congregation, the enemy cities. And they're doing spy work, sabotage, subterfuge, that kind of thing, which is pretty cool. And then we follow the POV of a really, really awesome warrior, and then a footman to the Mad King. The Mad King has kind of taken a hold of these other 5 nations, and their alliance is very, very tenuous. And everything is just hanging by a thread, especially with this war. Let's get into what this book is about. Battle Mages. Magic. So, the way the magic is written, and the characters, and the battles, is actually very well done. The book is full of the battle mages versing hordes of like the enemy, trying to just propel them and keep them back, and there's groups of battle mages versing each other, and the way it is all done, the way they can command lightning, make fire maelstroms, and one of them who's not very well skilled but has an enormous amount of power, and he can draw from the source, kind of like the Wheel of Time. He can create like this huge battle hammer, a war hammer made of pure energy. It's fucking cool, right? Like, and the enemy is called the Warlock, and he has his followers called Splinters, and the Splinters are kind of like, they're just basically his bitch. Like, they do as they're meant to. I really look, the way it is written is very well done. The way the battles are described and put together, the way the fight between one or more of these mages, these people of serious magical power, is presented to you, the reader, is actually really well done. But the entire time, I say this often, I always want more. And most of the time, that is a compliment because I'm greedy. This time, I'm not. I feel very left out. I feel very lackluster. I don't know what it is though. That's my problem. I've been umming and ahhing, and I've done this magic bit about 3 times, and I've fucking stumbled on it because there is just something missing. I don't know whether it's because maybe I prefer a hard magic system more than a soft magic system. But I just need something. I don't know what it is, but there's something missing, and this is a soft magic system. They pull from the source, and obviously they touch on various places like the Red Tower and things like that, where people go and learn how to control the magic, control the source that flows through them, and learn how to do the things that they do. But there's no I don't know, there's no guiding principle to their magic. There seems to be no real limitation apart from how much of the source you can pull into yourself, and whether or not you have the mental fortitude to just do what you need to do. But that, in saying that, the magic in itself is actually quite interesting because we have characters from other countries and continents, and they stand together as battle mages against this enemy. And when that's happening, they have a very different style. Like one of the characters, like they weave their magic essentially. And what he does when he fights and he uses his magic, he both uses his feet. You can't see my feet. I'm doing this with my feet. You can't see him, but he moves his feet and he also moves his hands. And essentially, what he does is he weaves shields of magic, and then also he weaves nets of magic underneath his enemies. So his enemies are trying to attack him, and their attacks are being deflected off his shields. And then it's almost like a dance. Like it's described almost like a beautiful flow state of water. And as he does that, he then grips, and basically these nets come, and these nets are actually basically wires and talons made out of pure magic, and they catch the enemy and they just rip them to shreds. And he mostly uses this as an offensive thing. He doesn't come forward with an enormous amount of power to just like attack and just devastate. He instead, very, very airbender style, he just moves and flows. He lets everything move around him, and he uses his enemy's power and force against them, essentially. And that's fucking cool. It's really, really good. I enjoyed a lot of that, but I think the way it was presented just didn't have any oomph to it. It didn't have any style. Balfourus, which is our main POV and main battle mage, he's exceptionally powerful, and it's describing the things he does, and it describes the scale of various forms of like destruction that's happening around him, either due to stuff deflecting off his magic shield or him doing stuff to the enemy. And you get the scale because it's been described to you, but it doesn't feel like it has any power. There's no oomph. I have no other word for it, which is really, really poor of me. I'm trying to critique a book, and I don't have the language skills to do it. But, yeah, like the battles were really, really awesome. They were really intense. You felt the desperation sometimes of the characters, and you felt the intensity and the scale of the magic. But then there was something else missing. Yeah, there was something in this book that was just missing, and I can't figure it out, and it still bugs me to this day. But that's not to say it was bad. The magic was very cool, and the way the battles were written was really cool. There was just something missing, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was intensity. I'm going to have to move on, because otherwise this will be the whole video, me just trying to work out what was missing. A really, really, really good aspect of this book is actually their gods. Now, this is not done in the normal conventional sense of gods where we have like their pantheon and all this sort of things. We actually get a look at the gods from a first-person view, which is actually really crazy. There isn't a lot of them in the book. There isn't a lot of chapters or time devoted to any of them in particular, but the very small amount that we see is actually very, very, very well written, and is very interestingly done. And essentially the gods disguise themselves and basically live amongst us, but they kind of create their own influence. And the more followers they have, obviously the more powerful they are, but also the older they are, the longer they've been around. And there's several gods, like there's a god of the sea, and there's a god called the Maker, and the Maker was one of the first gods. And then there's a bunch of younger, newer gods that a lot of people are very like, fuck those guys. Like there's the Lady of Light and the Lady of the Lantern? Lord of Light and Lady of the Lantern. But then there are also the Seasons. The Seasons are also gods themselves, and they are very old, very powerful, but kind of forgotten about a little bit. except in other cultures. What is going on with the birds? Um. So yeah, and it's very interesting to see because we have almost like a group meeting of the gods. A little bit old school, Supernatural. If anyone saw that episode, except it was done way better in the book. And we had like it's fun. It's funny watching beings of supreme power talk about the mortal world. I don't know. I just found that really, really interesting, and the way it was presented to us, and the way they hide, and the way they, like, they just they go about their lives amongst us, and sometimes they try and influence people so that they can continue to survive. Like one of the characters actually hides amongst us, and he basically goes from war to war, battle to battle, and he creates this like bond and these influences, and not so that he can be powerful, just so he can continue to exist, which is kind of crazy. And we see that even though the gods are not at the forefront of the story, and they don't have a lot of page or chapter time, they're just like one god in particular basically had more influence over the story than we realize until we get to the end, because half of what is set in motion is just because of the gods doing some of the things that they do to gain more power. Stop it. Yeah, no, I think that was one of the most interesting aspects of this book, is the way that the gods are presented as people, and the way they interact with our world, and the like just the style of how their worship works, how their power works, how the more people who know them gives them an even greater power. But then there's gods that are just so fucking ancient and old that they don't need to try. They don't need to go and influence people. They don't need to go and try and make a scene or have like this crazy amount of like devotion like towards them. They're just so old, and everyone knows their name for so long that their power is unquestionable. So they're fucking cool. And like one of the old gods is like an old god of plague, and he does some fucked up shit. Like, you're gonna read a chapter in here, and it's really gory, and there's not a lot of gore in this, considering it's a war book, it's a battle book. There's not a lot of gore and things in this. No more than to be expected in a war book, I should say. But there is just one part where one of the old school gods, the god's plague, he does some really crazy, gross shit, and I was like, whoa. I just did. And the thing is, though, there was no, like, it kind of sideblinds you, because there was no real, apart from mentions of the god, there was no real aspect that this book had anything to do with gods. And then you just read this chapter and you're like, what the fuck is happening? That was cool. That was really good. Yeah. The book is interesting. I love the POVs. I love the characters. The characters are very, I don't know about realistic, because some are gods and whatever. I think the most realistic character is the footman to the Mad King, because literally all of his, like, everything he sees, like, all of his chapters are basically, this guy's fucking nuts. I'm gonna stand here as quietly as possible and try not to be seen so I don't die. Like, that's most of his chapters, and most of his chapters are just fucking, this guy's a lunatic, please don't fucking kill me. He's just a dude. He's not a warrior, he's not a battle mage, he's not a spy, he's not like royalty like one of our other character POVs. He's just a dude, and he's like, how did I end up here? Why am I this guy's like manservant? Like, what the fuck? It's funny. Not ha funny, yeah, a little ha funny, but yeah, it's just that that level of what the fuck is really well written, is really well done. It was sitting on my shelf for ages, and my good friend Jerry was actually reading it on his phone one night. We were playing Magic. He got knocked out, so he was like, "Fuck it." So he started reading on his phone. We weren't just having a party or something, and he's in the corner. And I was like, "Oh, I actually have that book. It's on my shelf." Blah blah blah. We're having a chat about it, and he said it was really good. He said he enjoyed it, or he was enjoying it at the time, and he was absolutely flying through it. And I pretty much did the same. I powered through this. I think it's like 500, 600 odd pages, just shy of 500 pages, and even with a few hiccups and some stuff with work, I still managed to finish it within the month, which is pretty good. Yeah, I just did some calculations. It was about 16 and a half pages a day to try and finish it within the month, so I probably read like somewhere between 15 and 20 pages a day, which is pretty good for me. So yeah, I really enjoyed Battle Mage. I really enjoyed it. I really want to recommend it. I just don't know what's missing, and it's really bugging the crap out of me. But excellent political structure, by the way. Like the sabotage and the subterfuge and everything, where our our character within the royalty, our princess slash queen, like what she's going through mentally and what she's trying to do for her people within the war, and like when she sees stuff on the front lines and all the gore and all the shit that, like, just the nightmares that entail from that, the actual nightmares, and watching the battle mages, like getting a perspective of their immense raw power from someone who has none of that, is actually one of the things that kind of saved the battle mages for me, where we see their power from a normal person's perspective, and it actually gives it credence. It actually feels substantial. And then all her work and all her effort of sending like messages and orders and all these things to her spy network within the enemy alliance to try and tear it down from the inside, and seeing the POV of that character, that was really well done too. Actually, I should have mentioned that earlier. There's a little bit of like political intrigue, and the whole like trying to tear down the nation from the inside. It's not overly complex. There's obviously, it could be a book in and of itself, but it's not. So it's condensed down and made quite simplified, but also still very just very well written, very well presented to the reader. I couldn't complain. Honestly, I can't complain about that, because that was actually a very interesting part of the book. I think I like ate those pages up a lot more than most other pages, because it was like, oh, there was just that intrigue of like what's gonna happen, or like who's getting away with shit, especially when it gets a bit dicey and, you know, people are under suspicion for being treasonous. It's just good. I really liked it. I really liked that whole little spy network subterfuge thing going on. I thought that was really, really cool. I think it'll be time for the recommendation section. I have no idea who I'd recommend this to. I really, really don't. This one is actually a little bit hard, because there is a pretty high magic level in this. So if you do like soft magic systems and things like that, if you like that kind of military fantasy, or you like that really like nations at war aspect of books, then definitely pick this up. This is probably one of the go-to ones. I'm absolutely picking up the sequel, because I want to read more about these gods. I want to see what the fuck they do. I really do. I just feel like I really want to know. I'm left wanting, in the good way. Like I said before, it's normally a compliment, and this time it is when it comes to the gods of this world. I really want to know what the fuck they're doing and why they're amongst us. It's just very interesting. Yeah, if you have that kind of political intrigue, or you like really easy kind of political fantasy, then this is probably a really good read for you as well. It's all very easy. It's all very simplistic. It's all very well presented to where you're not going to get lost amongst names and dates and cities and people. You don't need a whiteboard to fucking keep track of everyone's shit. If you like easy political intrigue, if you like massive magic battles, if you like soft magic systems, if you like secretive gods, then this is the book for you. Pick it up. I'm going to put it on the screen right there for you again. Look at that. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Anyway, I think that's me. Once again, thank you, Victor, for all your criticism and tips. I'm going to take them into consideration. Whoa, what's happening? And I'm about to finish a Warhammer book. I'm reading Perturabo at the moment, and I will have a review of that coming up very shortly. Until then, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Till next time.